Yup, that's right. I'm swapping the Vyse. After messing around with Vyse for the past couple of days, I feel her kit fits my playstyle much more than Deadlock. She has fun lineups, crazy setups, and is an insanely aggressive sentinel. Deadlock isn't gone, but my videos on the channel are going to change. So if you're interested in learning Valorant's newest agent, I'm here to teach you guys everything you need to know. Along with our Discord, we have 2 new Vyse dedicated channels to help everyone learn how to play her. And my streams are going to involve a lot of Vyse tech finding and playing ranked with her. So if you are interested in that or just daily Valorant streams, make sure to check the description and drop a follow on my Twitch. I hope this doesn't upset anyone. I'm going to be taking everything I learned from Deadlock content creation and putting it into Vyse, trying to make the quality of videos even better than before, and teaching you all how to play this character just like with Deadlock. But with all that, let's talk about Vyse. This video is going to teach you not just what her abilities do, but how to play her and how to use her utility correctly. So with all that, let's go ahead and move into game, and I'll teach you guys everything you need to know to take this agent into the rank grind. Alright guys, what's up? I am here today and very excited to talk about the new agent Vyse. She's been out for about 4 days now. I have really enjoyed playing this character. If you guys have been in streams, we've been playing this character for the past couple of days. We've been finding tech on her, lineups and all that. Been playing ranked with her, and I am really enjoying her kit. I love the aggressiveness of it. She reminds me of the way that Deadlock and Sage play, but she leans heavily more into that aggressiveness of being a sentinel. She's kind of like Chamber in a weird way, where her abilities lead her to getting kills with her gun rather than her abilities fully stopping a push. Today, I'm going to be doing a beginner guide for you guys. We're not just going to be talking about the abilities. We're actually just going to make that really quick. We're going to talk about how you guys should be using the abilities and combining them together rather than just going over a really basic minimal guide. We're going to be using Ascent because it's the most basic map for explaining everything. I'm going to be going over how to use the abilities on attack and defense. Then I'm going to show you 2 basic setups for A and B, and then that'll be it. That's all we're going to go over. It'll be a nice, simple video. It's just to get you guys kind of in the idea of how you should be thinking about using the abilities, so then you can start finding really cool spots. And I will also show you guys some really cool like flash spots and some really cool Razorvine lineups. So that's pretty much all I have to say. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. So let's go ahead and move into it by starting to go over her abilities, starting with Razorvine. And going off our first ability, Razorvine. Razorvine is going to be our first ability in our kit. We get 2 charges of these. They are thrown like a KJ molly. Once they land on the ground, after a short wind-up period, you are able to activate them like a KJ molly. But instead of doing constant damage in a radius and then fading away after a short period of time, I think KJ mollies are like 2-3 seconds, maybe a little longer. I'm kind of bad with the times. Razorvine lasts 10 seconds, but because of the long time that it lasts, you only take damage when walking through it, but you are also slowed on top of it, though it's the weakest slow in the game. Like, it's nothing like Chamber or Sage slow or Deadlock net slow, which is the slowest slow in the game. So like I said, throw these out, they activate, you pop them. It's about the size of a gecko molly, I think. And the really unique thing about Razorvine is that no matter what, whether you are shift walking or you're crouching, the Razorvines make noise, as you can see. And the reason why this is really interesting and really nice to mess with is how we're going to be using the Razorvine. I am kind of using them as a pseudo info ability. Kind of like how I did with GrabNet as well. That was the main point of my GrabNet lineups. But we'll talk about that when we move on to how we're going to use Razorvine on attack. Moving on to her next ability, we have Shear. Shear is a equipable wall that works completely different from the other 2 walls in the game. How this works is looking at a wall, not looking at the ground or anything. You have to be looking at a wall. You're going to get an indicator like we have on screen right now. And once you place this wall, it's going to put a low line on the ground. This line, when stepped over, will make a wall build out of the ground. Now, the whole point of this is that when your duelist dashes in, they're going to activate this wall, and the rest of their team is going to be locked out besides maybe one person that's following the duelist in. So as you can see, we throw it on the ground, it activates, and then it puts this crack on the ground. You can only see the crack from 4 meters, so right here. And then, like I said, once you walk past it, the wall gets built. It's indestructible. You cannot walk past it. You can go over it with ray satchels and jet updraft. You can also bait out the wall. So if you just do the, like, if you like step back, you can bait the wall out, and you can't stand on top. Like, if I were to stand here and the wall starts building, for example, if I were to stand here and like jet dashes past this wall, I'm not going to go up with it standing here. I'm just going to get pushed out to the side. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You shouldn't be really using it as like kind of a tricky thing, like tricky kind of way, like with a sage wall where you stand on top of it. When placed down, it takes 4 seconds to activate, 0.3 seconds to like after the person passes to start building. And then once it's built, it lasts 7 seconds total. After that 7 seconds, it drops down. It cannot be reactivated again. It's a one-time thing. And that's pretty much all I have to say for it. Again, we'll get into specifics later on. And moving on to her signature ability is Arc Rose. Arc Rose is very unique for a Sentinel because it's the first Sentinel that has a flash. How this works is, as you can see, I can look at any surface, kind of like a Cypher camera, and I can place it down. But for attacking, you can also place it through the wall by right-clicking, and you will get this new indicator, like a breach flash. But all you do is place it down. After a short activation period, it'll go invisible, and then you press E or whatever your signature ability key is to pop a flash.
Retrieving flash.
This flash does also work like Sky's flash, where if you hit somebody with it, it does give you a separate indicator letting you know that you hit somebody with it. So it's also another great info ability. And that's pretty much all I have to say for that. And for her final ability, her ultimate, you're going to hold this weird triangle of metal, and you can't showing it on the map, it's the size of a KJ ult. And looking at the map, you can see that is the size of a KJ ult. You can see that it leaves this little part of wind out. What happens is once I click, it's going to do a short wind up. It's 3 seconds. And when anybody hit in this area where there's going to be roses all over, or thorns all over the ground, whoever gets hit in that area loses their primary gun. This does not affect chamber ult, jet ult, or neon ult, anything like that. You can still use your secondary, you can still use your abilities. You just cannot use your primary weapon. This ult is really good if your team is on an eco and you want to make the playing field fair, or just general executes. It's, you know, good for stuff like that. You just have to remember that they still have classics in whatever secondary weapon they're taking. So you always have to remember that it's not a full execute ult like KJ's ult is, where it's gonna push them all out. The reason why I think this is balanced though is because the rest of her kit is very, very good, in my opinion. And I'll go ahead and show you guys what the ult looks like when you use it.
My ultimate's ready.
You see it pops. There's no indicator to let you know that you hit anybody either. That little like chain noise that plays at the end plays all the time. But yeah, that's the basic rundown of her kit. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to how to use her abilities on attack. Then we're gonna move on to defense. Okay, so Razorvines. Razorvines on attack are going to be an ability that some people are going to look at as weird, because KJ Molly is like one of those abilities that you don't really know how to use on attack, so pretty much everybody just uses them for lineups or putting them on the bomb. Well, what's the point of putting Razorvines on the bomb if they only take damage while walking through it? It's not a horrible idea to put them on the bomb, because if you have someone that has a molly lineup, as they're walking through it, they're going to take damage from the molly, and as they're trying to run away from the molly, they're going to be slowed, taking extra damage, and they're also going to be taking damage from your thorns. But I thought about it some more, and I think the way that we should actually be using these is to have the thorns land in spots where people are going to be playing a lot or walking through. So, you know, back gen, dice, and heaven, because people are going to be running through these areas a lot. But if we have thorns on the ground, these people cannot swing without taking damage, being slowed, or revealing where they are. They have to stand perfectly still, which gives us a benefit, because these last for 10 seconds. That's plenty of time for us to push in the site and fight this person who's standing in backside. Okay, and for example of how we're going to be using the Razorvines on Ascent, I have some pretty early lineups that I did post on my TikTok and YouTube Shorts. You might have seen it there already. But what you're going to do is you're going to be lining up with this specific part of the box. Okay, so for the first one, you're going to be doing it in this order, where you look at this building, then this building over here. You're going to look where the sill and the side of this building meet. You're going to come out just to the left so you don't accidentally hit the side of the building. So right here.
Punching thorns.
Okay, and then for the second one, I'm going to pull an op out, and you're going to be looking at this building up here. You're going to be looking at the broken parts of it, and you'll see these little notches that are coming off. There's the first one, the second, and then the third one right here. And then we're going to go ahead and toss it. Okay, and you'll see they land like this. So this one lands on the dice, and then this one lands on the bar right here. This heaven one is a little finicky, but this is the best way to have it land, because once you pop it, you'll see that you can't walk through heaven without making any noise and taking damage, and you can't walk through gen without making any noise or taking damage. And the reason why this is really good is because you cannot swing. You cannot swing without taking that damage or making a ton of noise, letting you know that there's people back here. And then the same idea goes with this. There's no way to swing out without making that noise or making it or taking any damage. So I think this is the best way to be using the Razorvines. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when you're doing this real fast in the game. So you're gonna come up on the spawn barrier. We're gonna go bam.
Rip and tear. Rip and tear.
And then lands, pop, pop.
Thorns activated.
Obviously, you can find a more generic lineup for Heaven, but I think this is the best way to use these two abilities on attack. Okay, so now moving on to Shear and using Shear on attack. There are two ways you can use this piece of util. The first way is don't treat this like a Sage Wall or Deadlock Wall. The main reason I say that is because, again, characters are meant to be played differently. Doing comparisons does not help us figure out how this character can be strong. You need to use their utility in unique and different ways. So the first thing is, this is her trip. This is what is going to let you know when people are lurking. So the best idea, one of the better ideas to do is to just toss it on flank. Someone pushes past this, you know they're here. It's okay if they don't fully go past it. If they just, you know, jump peek it and make it, you know, build, you still know someone is back. So it's okay to throw it on flank. I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but here's how I would determine it. After you played a few rounds, you know, the first few rounds, just decide if you want to put it on flank or if you want to put it on site. That's just up to you. But if you're noticing that you're putting it on site more and now you're getting flanked, put it on your flank. And if you're not getting flanked, put it on site so you can fight site, because you're ultimately dealing with one person, because you're either dealing with the person that is leaving their team to come and flank and get a timing on you guys, or you're dealing with that person, instead of flanking, being with their team, helping their team retake the site, and your wall is getting rid of whoever that ends up being. For example, if you're going to use your wall on site, one really good wall on ascent here is just placing it in Heaven like this, because it goes all the way across. So the first person to jump out ends up locking their entire team in Heaven, and they all can't get out, and this person is now on site by themselves. Maybe one other person comes out with them, maybe, but you got to remember that in the hectic situation that is retaking a site, they're not going to notice this wall here until they get right here. So they're not going to look down, and there's also going to be a smoke here. So they're going to jump out, they're going to flash out, they're going to swing out. For example, if if the flash is here, I'm going to, let's just say like I'm playing Phoenix, I'm going to, throw my flash out and swing out, and then I'm going to push down, I'm going to push past the wall. And even if they do realize the wall is here, there's not much they can do about it. They can all try and, systematically line up here and then drop out of Heaven, but there's no time to coordinate all that. So that's how you should be using Shear on attack. Now let's go and talk about arc rows. All right, so talking about arc rows now, you'll see that I'm standing up from the jump on the bike. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you this first flash, which is up on this weird cannon thing. I don't know what this is, but you can see that the flash goes all the way up here, and there is nowhere on site you can hide besides hell. And if you're standing directly behind Jen, which you're not really covering yourself from main that much, you could stand, it's all the way over to here. So right here is when I would get flashed. So you may not hit this Gen person, but that's why we have our Razorvines. So if someone's sitting dice, if someone's sitting Heaven, if someone's sitting, like closer to hell, like not all the way back, but if there's, they're kind of doing this, because I sit here sometimes where I hug this wall, they're going to get flashed. And you may say, well, that flash is a little obvious. It's just like a Sova dart. If someone breaks it, you can sometimes tell where they are, because by the time this rose goes up, the rest of your team is going to be already pushing up, so they'll also throw in their utility on top of it. The idea is to find a really good flash spot that is like your kind of bread and butter, but don't do this every time. Just like a Sova dart and a Fade Eye, you shouldn't be doing them in the same exact spots. So it never hurts to just throw a really basic flash, like one like this, where the whole idea is getting as high as you can, so you can just walk out with it. And just for another example, this is how, this is a flash you can do on B.
Placed.
As you can see, it comes up here and it's on top of the sign, like the Cypher camera. And this one covers a lot. It covers all the way back here. Obviously not right here, but it doesn't get this part of sight. But once you come here, nope, a little bit more. Once you come right here, the flash hits you. So pretty much, almost the entirety of sight gets hit by this flash. This flash is a little hard to throw. I would definitely practice it in custom games before you go trying to do it. And again, if you ever need to throw a different type of flash, one that I've seen online is like throwing a flash down like this, where it's on sight and then you pop it.
Retrieving flash.
Again, being creative, using it in different ways. Creativity is going to reward you on this agent a lot, just like Sova. Both of them have kits that you can, it's easy to just shoot a dart at the back wall of sight. But when you get those really creative ones, then that's when Sova shines and he becomes a really crazy agent. And I think it's the same thing with Vyse here. For example, after you've used your first flash and you pull it back and you're on that 20-second cooldown, it doesn't hurt to like, throw your flash really high up. Like, let's say like I'm on site. It doesn't hurt to throw your flash through the wall over here and pop it to get yourself info. Because you can use this as an info flash. And if someone breaks it, you know they're there. Same thing with marking. I can toss it in here, pop flash, now I know, or they shoot it, so I know someone is at least in the area of market. And then finally, I'm just gonna go over this once. I'm not gonna talk about it on defense. If you're gonna ult, use it like a KJ ult. If you're retaking B, come up to this wall, pop it here. And if you're going A, say like I said earlier, come up to this wall, pop it here. What I will say about the ult is that you should be using it in kind of like a reactive scenario. Like, I was on Sunset the other day and I killed one guy, got my ult, and I immediately ripped it because everybody else was an elbow. I knew this ult was gonna hit everybody because they were so far in sight. It is really easy to pull it and insta-pop it. So you have time to pop it before people like push up all the way into sight. So, defense, this is a Sentinel agent, so there's a lot more to talk about on how to place her utility. So, let's go ahead and talk about Razorvine. Definitely her weakest ability, but I think it can be a very, like a B tier ability where it does what it needs to do, just not at a crazy level. Using Vyse's Razorvines, a lot of people have been saying to just throw them at the front of sight and pop it like this. Now, this obviously varies with sight because the main reason you're doing it like this is so you can't, like, funneling out is going to be a problem no matter what. Whoever's going to switch, whoever's coming over here to hold him. But I kind of disagree with this. And the reason why is because you only really need one Razorvine to hit the entire team so long as you just throw it in the choke like this. They cannot run through this at all without taking at least some damage and being slowed. So I actually think it's best that we have a lineup to get our second Razorvine onto the other side. So for example, this is one of the setups I have to do that's very basic. You just do this, put this one here, then you're gonna come over into this back corner, and you're gonna be taking the middle bar, this bar between your shear and your arc rows, the middle bar, and you're gonna be putting it on this spike right here. So we take the middle of it, put it right there. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then we jump throw, and as you can see, it lands, we pop it. This denies push into lane, this denies push into switch, and it denies the general walking out. This is how I think Vyse should be played. Kind of like how Viper can put her orb on one side and her smoke on another by using a lineup. That's how I believe we should be doing this. And for vice versa, to explain this to you, you can line yourself up with this, where the brown and the tan of this wall meet, and then you're taking the middle bar between your arc rows and ult this time and putting it on this R on the sign that says Fruta. You go ahead and jump throw.
Launching thorns.
And now it does
Thorns
the
activated.
opposite side. As you can see, it lands. It pretty much lands right where my Razorvines were before. So we'll go ahead and pop it again. And as you can see, we are now supporting our team while playing B. That's how I think we need to be using the Razorvines on defense.
Launching thorns.
Now, it is totally okay to throw your Razorvines like this. There's nothing wrong with doing this. I'm talking more in the sense of trying to be unique and maximizing the potential of this character. And with all that, that's pretty much everything I have to say about Razorvines. And some people may be wondering about basic setups. I am going to show you guys later after we're done talking about defense, 2 basic setups for A and B. And like I said, I think this character really rewards creativity, just like Sova and how the Sova community has a lineup for literally everything. I think that Vyse has that potential too. So, like I mentioned, we got a Discord community. All the people in there right now seem to be really enjoying Vyse. So if you want to show your own setups, you guys should definitely join. It's a great place to just share your creativity. And even if it's not for that, Deadlock, any character, whatever you guys want to show off, you guys should definitely hop over there and join the community. But with all that, let's go and move into Shear. Okay, so now moving on to Shear. Shear on defense is a very solid piece of utility, but I think it kind of depends on the map. A lot of people are going to tell you in general, if they're just doing a basic, here's how to play Vyse, they're going to say, just put it in the choke. I kind of disagree with that depending on the map. The reason why is when you place a wall like this, Jet's going to come over here and, she's going to dash to the middle side, dash to the gen, whatever, right? And my problem with this is that it already is kind of a problem when Jet dashes in to like try and fight her on site, because they typically like to hide behind stuff and then swing you. Like they'll hide behind Jen and they'll delay time so their team can come in.
There.
Same way over here, right? And so the reason why I don't like this wall is that yes, it stops their team from coming in, but that already kind of happens because Jets are usually in sight with the team's utility already. And by the time they kill you, their team is just flooding in right behind them. And with the Vyse wall, you're just kind of adding like a very minute slowdown time. How I think you should be doing it on Ascent A, at least, is placing the wall on site. And the idea about this is if you place the wall like this and you're playing dice, this person that, the Jet that, you know, jumps dice is going to activate this wall. And now they are secluded and have to fight you 1v1 on this side. And to help you fight this Jet, to prevent anybody else from pushing this side, as you hear that Jet dash in, you're holding right here. You're gonna pop these thorns real quick and then look back over here, because this is 10 seconds of somebody who has to make noise to come push you. So that's my idea. There's also a few other small things, like you can do, put the wall here, sit back sight on Jen, have your shorty, wait for the wall to pop, come around, and kill the Planter. Now, some people may think, oh, well, they'll just, you know, get up and walk away, and they're going to look back over here or here to fight you. That's fine. If you hear them get up and walk away, just don't push them anymore. Come back here, and, you know, you have your arc rose that normally is setting up somewhere over there. Flash them. You can fight over here now. Another idea is, and you guys have probably seen this clip already, putting it here and playing tree. Just make sure you know you have your setup for it, either doing the one thorn like I said, or if you're playing here, I think you should put your other set of thorns on the generator here. So pop, pop, then you're sitting here, you're waiting, wall pops, you come out, dead. Perfect. So that's my main idea of using the shear. Again, creativity rewards you on this character. So I think just putting it in the main doesn't work, because another thing is if this is smoked, you know, some people, they'll just bait it. I had a neon on Haven literally come in, jump it, bait it, and then run back down the main, and that's all he did, and it wasted my piece of utility. So yes, doesn't hurt to place it in different places. Just try it out. Just try doing unique stuff and trying to place it in different places. For example, on B, there's a few spots that you have. One idea is I like putting it on this boat right here, because the idea is that Jet dashes the switch, you can, and then this wall pops up, and then the enemies are like, oh, he messed up his wall, we can all just funnel through here. And then you're here, you can go ahead and fight the Jet, and which I'm going to show you guys a setup on here in a second. Then you can come over here and fight these guys with your flash and your thorns. But there's also putting your wall right here, so this person is stuck out on lane. You can all, you know, again, the potential is very, very high. You can also do this and lock someone in with you. You know, you just hold, you know, you're holding close, they come to swing you, they're stuck in here. Their team has to come all the way around to push you. And then if you had your flash, you can just put it up here. So that's the main idea of the shear and how you should be using it on defense. But let's go ahead and move on to arc rows, and then I'm going to give you guys some basic setups, and then we'll be done from there. Okay, so let's talk about the arc rows. All right, so on defense follows the same ideas of offense. You need to place it high up in areas that people are not going to expect it at. But one thing that I specifically look for is putting it in places where the flash flashes everybody, but it doesn't flash me. My main thing is because when I was always trying to play flash characters, I hated when, if you were like a KO and you know you're looking at a wall like this and you toss it and then you like swing with it, it ends up doing like that half flash on you. For example, when I pop this one, that always bothered me. And now that we have a flash that's on the wall that you can just activate whenever while still having your gun out, why not put it up here, play back sight, and flash everybody else? That's my thought process on it. So these are the flashes I'm personally gonna find. It again, never hurts to like, you can get it up on this cannon. You can always just place it like up on this back wall. There's nothing wrong with doing that so long as you're okay with being half flash. Personally, I don't want to deal with that. There's not a lot else to say about the flash on defense. It's a lot more used in unique ways on attack. For example, another really decent flash you can do is just putting it on this back wall. You can also put it on this tree. You can also put it right here. If you get up on the boat, you can place it like that. And this works as a one-way flash. Just like that. And then one piece of tech that I'm going to talk about real quick is that when you can also use the flash really aggressively. it is possible to get this flash down here before the enemies even get up here. It'll be invisible. Pop it. It's a one-way flash. But this is also something I'm going to go over in my ascent guide. And every guide will have an aggressive flash that you are able to place for your teammates that don't flash your team, but flash everybody else. But that's pretty much all I have to say about the Archros. Just get it up high. Go for a one-way flash. If you can't, no big deal. But that's pretty much everything I have for it. So, with all that, I'm going to show you guys some setups. Let's go ahead and show the setups off and we'll wrap the video up. On ascent A here, this is just a bread and butter setup. So like I said, I would not put the wall here, but I think it's also not terrible to put it here because of how you're setting up. You're going to be taking your wall. You're going to make sure that it's not tilted like this. You're going to put it here. Okay, we are now covered here. Now, we're going to throw the Razorvines right in front of it. So that way, anybody that pushes out is going to be slowed and taking damage and making noise that they are pushing it. Now, for your second set of Razorvines, we're going to be doing that lineup like I said from earlier. We're going to be looking up, taking that middle bar and putting it on the spike. And then we're going to go ahead and jump throw. And for our flash, we would have done this earlier since we're coming through heaven, but you're going to be looking at this door on the building back here. You're going to go as high as you can before it turns red. And then you're going to jump, throw, and that's it. You're going to play back gen. You're going to hear the wall go up. You're going to attempt to fight this jet. You can use your flash to support you. But I would suggest the idea on defense being the wall goes up. You try to fight that person by yourself. Go ahead and use a flash if you think you need it. And then once the wall goes down, you're going to pop the thorns. And then if they're not here and you hear your team on B saying, hey, they're here. And then you're going to let them know, hey, I have thorns there. Let me know if I need to pop them. They ask you to pop them. You pop them. Okay. And now on B, here's what we're going to be doing. Earlier, I showed you guys this wall here, and there's a reason why I like doing this wall, because, like I said, because once the jet goes over there, this wall is going to build, and then everybody else is going to just funnel through here. And the idea is you're either going to stand here, doesn't matter where you are specifically, so long as you see this crack, you're going to look at the top of it, and just toss your thorns there. Or, if you want to be weird, like me, you can come over into this corner, and you're going to be looking down at this blob right here. You're going to see that it kind of meets like up at this peak right here, and you're going to be taking your the right side of your ability HUD right here and be putting it right on top of it like that, and you're going to go ahead and throw them. And the reason why we do it like this is because the enemies actually cannot see this. I'm going to go ahead and show an example on screen right now, but they can't see it until they get really, really close to it. So it doesn't hurt to do it like this. And yes, if you guys were wondering, it obviously does spread downwards. That's the whole point of doing it like this. Okay, and then after doing that wacky thorn lineup, you're going to take your flash, and you don't want to put it to where it's halfway through, but if you bring it down just a tiny bit, the reason why I like doing this flash is because it's not super obvious, so I'm putting it somewhere here. It just barely goes over this box, but it will flash the entirety of lane. And even if you are standing right next to it, like this, it doesn't flash you. So it's very good because it's a little bit into the archway, so it doesn't actually flash you. Now I'm going to show you what it's like when you do both of these setups fast, like you're setting up in a normal game. Okay, so the first idea is you're going to come over here, line yourself up. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to go ahead and jump throw, take your wall. You're going to come over here, throw it there, and then come back here. And as you can see, our thorns have landed. And you're going to come over here, toss these thorns, turn here, throw this flash. And there you go. You're all set up. And we now have support for A, and we're all set up on B as well. And this is just your bread and butter. This is not how you're going to do this every single round. Some rounds you may be aggressive. Some rounds you might have both thorns on one side because you're very confident that they're going to go to a certain site. So on and so on. Now, what we're going to do on A is we're going to come over here, take your flash, jump, throw, and then you're going to take your other set of thorns, put it here, wall, put it here, come back over here, and do the lineup, and there you go. Lands, we are done. That is our setup done. You know, they pop the wall, we flash, kill this guy, wall goes down, pop thorns, flash is coming up soon, flash again, bam. That's how you play this character. And again, this is just the bread and butter. Get creative, guys. Get creative. It's going to make this character even better. But that's pretty much all I have to say. This is just a very quick, very basic beginner guide. I just want to show you guys some basic setups, show you how I think we should be playing this character. I didn't want to just ramble over on how the abilities work because I don't think that's a really good guide. Do what works. Don't fix what ain't broken is, you know, it's the old saying. So But that's pretty much all I have to say for you guys. I'm glad to finally be back to posting content consistently. Get ready for a Ascent guide very, very soon, because we're going to go over all the maps, starting with Ascent, not Abyss, because I think Ascent is the best play to start, and then we'll be going map by map. I will go over the current map pool, and then once I'm done with the current map pool, I will post the new map pool that is coming in, I think, roughly 2 months. But that's all I got to say. Guys, have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.